known as the shrimp pimp. That's how you heard me, right? Pimp, P-I-M-P. Yeah. You know, lover of shrimp of all kinds, or do we get specific kind? And, you know, maybe he was just telling me about how, you know, orders too much shrimp and then passes it out, or
That's right.
pimps it out, right? So,
Yeah,
rain and
pimps out
shrimp.
the shrimp.
I'm trying to find the right words for that. So,
Yeah,
let's start the episode off with what are you grateful for today and why?
Today, I am grateful for the attitude of gratitude. I find that the more that I focus on the things I'm grateful for in my day and what I have, the less I focus on the negative things. Honestly, it's just if I wake up with my gratitude lists for myself and from my friends and from people around me, the less I'm focusing on negatives that could be affecting my day. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I got a thing out actually just behind the curtain. It says, what are you grateful for today, 2022? And I'm trying to write something on it every single day.
Yep.
So that way, at the end of it, you're going to have 365. Well, I started a little bit late, but
Yeah.
and something I'm working towards
right.
anyways.
Yeah.
And I'll change the color every month too. Like,
Absolutely.
So that way you just reflect back and see.
Wow. It's just, I wake up with gratitude lists from my friends or sponsees or from even like just people now. And then I like to always still give out my gratitude list to the people that want them from me. And it just makes my day. It starts my morning off great.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Agree
Absolutely.
100%. Before I ask you the next question, you want to give a shout out to anybody today?
Yes, actually, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Brennan. He is celebrating his 5 years sobriety today. And I am really sorry that I'm missing it. But, you know, I know you're having a good one, man, and you deserve it. So, yeah, good job, man.
Awesome. Yeah, happy birthday, Brennan. You know, we'll dedicate this episode to Brennan. How's that?
That's
5
great.
years, you know what? You earned it. Congratulations. Not there for your birthday, so this is the best we can do right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So what was I want to start this off same way I do everyone, is what was your childhood like growing up?
Well, honestly, I think I came in a family that, were very loving. Family did the best they could with what we had. My family worked hard. We liked hockey. We loved sports, and we were always there for each other, right? Celebrated everything, and I really can't complain, really. We weren't really a well-off family at a certain point, you know what I mean? But, so my mom and dad worked a lot, always tried to defend my sister because she was a little bit of a shithead, and I hope she hears that. But, I really can't complain, Will I say that, because my family did like to have drinks and stuff like that at special occasions and stuff, or have a glass of wine at the end of the night? Does that affect my what happened in the future? I can't tell you, but overall, good people. So
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. You grew up in a big family, or
no, I had a few cousins. I have a younger sister.
just the two of you? Eh?
Yeah, just the two of us. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What was your introduction to drugs then, or how'd you ever get introduced to it?
Well,
or drinking, I should say.
Drinking was more actually because of I was really good friends with a guy I played hockey with, and we'd hang out all the time. We became more than just we became friends outside of the dressing room. You know what I mean? I'd always be at his house, and he had a really shady uncle. Let's put it that way. That lived with him, and we honestly gave him some money to get us a beer. And he got us a big can of beer, and we drank the whole thing and played PlayStation all night. And then I had I felt like such dog shit the next day, right? And that was my first introduction to drinking, where I actually felt like shit. And then same thing, I had another friend's house where I'd smoke weed with her and her family and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just I would say that was around 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. So yeah, before that, I think I'd have the odd weird drink, sneaking in at a wedding or something like that. But nothing really came of it until smoking weed, especially until high school, I say, because I had a lot of friends that smoked weed, and I like to draw and hang out outside of school and do that and smoke weed with my friends and stuff. So yeah.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I am now 37 years old.
Oh, so we're close. I'm 40.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Same generation, pretty close.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a good generation, I think.
It is. It is.
I like to think
We're almost pre-internet, right? So
pre-internet.
yeah, if you were there with the internet, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, right. Dial up and all that shit, you know? I like being at like almost 40 years old because I finally figured out that I don't know fuck all about fuck all.
That's fine.
You know what I mean? I thought I knew everything, found out I didn't know everything, and now I just don't care.
You know the best part about getting old? No shame.
No shame. Oh man, no shame at all. It's good. It's a freeing feeling. So
100%.
yeah.
Moving forward then, like high school, did you do okay in high school, and did the drugs start to like what was the progression like?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I never had any real serious consequences with smoking weed, right? You know, I did graduate high school. How I graduated, I have no fucking idea. I skipped school all the time, and I would just, you know, but I did make it through high school pretty good. But then as soon as I got out of high school, I already knew what I wanted to do for a career right out of high school, like even before that. So, the progression really came when I actually did get my, my apprenticeship for my career. You know, I'm in an industry where you get a lot of freedom with it, and that freedom can be really abused pretty fast. So I was literally smoking like 7 joints a day with my people I worked with. There was a bar next door to where we worked, so we would go to the bar for lunch. But yeah, there was no real serious consequences to it because the work got done. You know what I mean? The bills were paid, and I didn't even know what addiction was at the time. Like, I had no idea, right? This is just what I thought life was. When you grow up seeing people who work hard, go home, have a drink or something like that, and then you carry that forward into your young adult life, you just thought that's how it went, right? And there was no, like I said, no consequences to those actions. So,
well, when you don't really see much difference too, right? Like, you surround yourself with that, and that's all you really see. Like, that's your world, right? Like,
yeah. Well, that's what it was, right? You know, you see people that you look up to, like my teacher, for example. The person who taught me my craft, he was like he had serious drug addiction problems, and I didn't even know it, right? Because he did a great job at what he did a good job for what he was. And being around those types of people all the time, it's just like it was normal, right? So, and being young and full of spunk and kind of dumb, and it was like, even if something wrong did happen, I had no idea. I was having fun, right? You know, I was just like, I was all aboard to kick some ass or you know, just get involved with stuff that obviously these days I'm like, that's so stupid.
That comes with age, right? That comes with 37 years old.
It's an age thing for sure. It's definitely an age thing.
Yeah, it's funny the things you learn and look back, right? And you're just like, holy
wow, how did I do that?
Yeah, but you see how naive, you know, like kids, like 19, you're still teen. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you know, that's the thing about back then we don't know any better about that stuff, right? You know what I mean? But like these days, like I think kids are actually a little smarter these days because they see all this stuff around them, so they can make better judgment calls than we did. You know what I mean?
Smoking's not cool anymore, for example.
No, it's not, but I still smoke, unfortunately.
Me too.
It's that's you know, another bad habit to get rid of, obviously, one day. So,
with time.
With time.
What was your introduction to the hard drugs then, or how did?
I basically at the time I was engaged to a girl, but things got rocky really fast not fast with us. Like, it was a good 2-year downhill slide, and I didn't know how to handle it, right? Like, it was my first person I thought I could trust and be in love with and all that stuff like that, right? And I didn't know how to handle it when we actually broke up, you know? So I got into a serious state of depression, started drinking more, started smoking more weed. I also just started a job at a place that I really wanted to work, and that didn't help because I was stressed out about that. And I was just with a client, and he was so carefree and just really hippity dippity, and like nothing fazed him ever. Nothing ever fazed him. And I just asked him straight up. I'm like, "Yo, man, how are you doing so good?" And we were young, obviously, and he's like, "Why don't you try one of these?" And it was a fucking 80 mil Oxycontin. So I did, because I seem to like to just take random pills and put them in my mouth at the time. And wow, like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it was like night and day, right? So that's the start of it. It was.
How old were you?
I would say I was about 24, 25 when that happened. Yeah. So 24, 25. And then, I kind of dabbled with it for a little while. And then I don't know, it just like the physical dependency of it came about, because it's a painkiller, right? So you keep taking that stuff for too long, your body becomes physically dependent on it, right? And so progressed to where I was actually making deals with a person to trade my services that I do for work with for the oxys.
Yeah.
And then and that's the thing, I did that for I think like 2 or 3 years, and like because I could function on them, right? Like depending on who you are, you can either go to sleep or you become very productive. And with my line of work, it was really easy to hide it, right? So I just made that part of my, instead of smoking weed, I substituted the weed for that. And I still drank, I still had a drink. And I did that for about 2 or 3 years until finally one day it was hard. It was getting a lot harder to get that shit, right? Unfortunately, people were starting to rob pharmacies, and the doctors were starting to make it harder to get and stuff like that. And I'll never forget that night. It was storming and with snow, and I needed them, or else I couldn't function. Like I couldn't function, and I got a hold of somebody, and he's like, "I don't got any," and I was like, "Well, what else do you have?" Right? I was like, "What else do you have?" Because I need something. And then that's when Coke got introduced into my life, right? And it didn't do the same thing, but I'm telling you, it definitely messed up my mind enough to be like, wow, this is cool too. I'm just going to add this to my little cocktail of stuff, right? And then that's when I feel like things really went hard, like down hard fast. And, what?
Oh.
No, go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
I was just going to ask if you ever tried like quitting on your own or just like stopping.
Well, it wasn't until my mom came up to me one day. She's like, "There is something wrong with you," and I don't know what it is. And I couldn't lie to my mom. If she was asking me something, I would tell her straight up. So I told her what I was doing, and it really broke her heart, obviously. So I tried to start. I asked for help, but I didn't really want it. I was kind of like trying to, I went into detox, and then I only lasted for like 3 days because I couldn't handle it. And then I would try again, but then I also got fired from my dream job. Right. So that didn't help with my depression. I started hanging out with some really, really shady people. That didn't help either. But I do remember when I decided to try to get better for I think it was the third time, and I actually wasn't even allowed to go to the detox center in Calgary. I kept getting kicked out, and I came to Edmonton, and then I went to the detox center here. Went to Henwood, because that's what they said I should do. So I did, and I was great. I was on I was on the Henwood High, right?
That pink cloud.
Yeah, that pink cloud, right? That was great. And I'm like, I'm going to go back to Calgary, and I'm going to show those guys how good I am. That didn't work very well at all. It didn't work at all. I think I was back in this shit within a month. So I'm like, nope. But every time I did it, I was like, well, nope. Okay, I know what I got to do. Came back to Edmonton, went to detox. And then they asked me if I wanted to do a longer treatment. I'm like, well, how long? They said 3 months. I was like, 3 months? Are you fucking kidding me? That's too long. Like, I can't do 3 months. But I did. And it was great. That's when I finally decided to stay here in Edmonton, where I was born, and try and build up a new life here. And then that was in 2012. Okay. So that was I have been clean off of the cocaine and the oxys for that long, which is great. But I never did. Once I got into recovery, I went to Recovery Acres, but I didn't stay connected, and I just went back to trying to build a normal life here. Get my career back going and stuff like that, get that all settled and just try to start a normal life. But unfortunately, my demons and my shit from Calgary that I did not handle, I just left it there, found me here, right? They eventually found me and decided to, start screwing shit up here. And I didn't have any tools to deal with it. I didn't have any tools at all. Nothing. The only way I knew how to deal with things is to try to mask them and not think about them. So there was a bar that was in the parking lot of where I worked, and I decided to go there and have some drinks to chill out. As time went on, I slowly did take care of those things from Calgary. They slowly did start to go away and take care of themselves. But as that happened, my addictive thinking and my repetition of going to the bar had gotten bigger and bigger and more, right? It started off with a few beers, then a few beers turned into 5, and then shots, and then doubles, and all that stuff. So
Progressive, 100%.
very progressive. And that was all in like 2012, 2013. But I once again, I didn't think I saw a problem with it because that wasn't my problem before, right? That wasn't my issue before. It was oxys and cocaine. And I started, like, I built up a pretty good life here. I got a career, my career back on track. I'm working at my dream place. You know, I got engaged, I got a dog, you know, and all that good stuff, right? But my physical health and my obsession for drinking was by 2020, 2020, I was like full blown addict mode. It was full blown, like, I had to wake up to get, you know, if I woke up, I wanted it. Yeah. I would tattoo or work hungover every day. I would still go to work. I wouldn't go to work drunk, but I would go to work hungover as fuck. And then I became a statistic with COVID. So that's what really drove me into the ground, right? Because I had, you know, like so many others, like, I'm just a statistic, but like everything was taken from me to do. Couldn't work, couldn't play hockey, couldn't go to hockey, nothing. You know what I mean? And, so I started drinking heavily, like to the point where I had to go to the hospital. I almost had liver failure, and I thought I was going to die an addict. Like, I'm like, this is my life. I tried to get better. I tried to get clean, and this is how I die. But I still had, you know, I had some good supports around me. My boss actually was a big support. She really didn't want to see me die, and so she helped me out a lot. And then I just got a hold of the right people, right? I reached out again. I reached out to people at my old treatment center. And then that's how this whole process started over, right? You know, because I was a functioning alcoholic to the point where I was just a full-blown addict alcoholic. Yeah. So, yeah.
I get it. What's your clean date today?
My clean date is actually July 1st. So
next week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Awesome.
It'll be 2 years.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Like, and this is just my opinion. What my experience is, that 1 to 2 years is honestly the hardest to get. I feel like the first year flew by. You learn all the tools. 1 to 2 years is when life actually unfolds, or you like life starts to happen, right? Yeah. And that's when you need all those fucking tools to survive 1 to 2 years. So congrats on that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I definitely feel what you're saying there, to be honest with you. Like, that life is definitely starting to become more of like just every day, you know, but like then you see like balance is a hard one for me. I'm really trying to find that balance with everything, you know. I say this to my sponsor especially all the time. I'm like, all the things I'm doing in life are so positive and so good, you know, like for myself and for the people around me, but I can't find the balance with it. You know what I mean? I can't, you know, it'll be like, but, and that for me is the thing I'm really trying to find, because it does get to me, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's I think it's more of an organization thing.
I used to call it, like, I used to joke, and there's some truth to it, but it's an illusion, right? You know, because every day, you know, all of a sudden something changes and it's repivot. Like, balance is always in motion, right? Like, you can never reach it and just stay there. No, you know, it's always constantly pivoting and moving and trying to figure it out. And good luck.
You know, I actually had that talk with somebody the other day, and I was talking about how I can't find balance and like how I'm trying so fucking hard to get it. And I'm like, you know, I'm doing this a lot, but then I'm missing out on this, or I'm like doing this and then this is being neglected. And then I was like, maybe what I need to do is come to the conclusion and be that it's okay to not have the balance, or be okay with it at least. Yeah. Be okay that the balance isn't going to be there. You know what I mean? Yep. So, yeah.
I do. It's a tricky one. It's constantly juggling, and
it is.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm still on the hunt, but that's okay.
So what was different this time, and like, what was different this time with treatment? Walk us through that, or how you even got back to it this time.
Honestly, like, in my opinion, it was an 8-year relapse, right? You know, I got clean and sober, and then it was an 8-year relapse. This time around, because I had too much control. I feel last time I was still trying to control my life way too much and how it went, right? I thought I knew what I had to do to get my life back on track. And then when I came to that realization that I'm going to die an addict if I do not like just give up, like, and just listen to what everybody tells me to do. You know what I mean? And that's just the honest to God truth. Like, I really just, I went into my treatment center and I'm like, I remember I was sitting at a desk and I was like, fuck, man, like, I can't believe I'm here again. Well, I see all these people with all this clean time, and I see all these people that are living happy, sober lives, you know, because I didn't want to be a dry drunk. Like, who the hell wants to be that? And I was like, you know, I'm just going to do what these guys do and, like, just give up. Like, you know, if someone asks me to do something, I'm going to do it. So I had a guy in my treatment center be like, hey, man, do you want to go to a meeting? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. I mean, I never gave him a chance before, but I did. And then I thoroughly enjoyed it. I heard things that I really wanted to hear. You know what I mean? I like to give a lot of control up over my day. Like, these days, I like to have, like, at least 2 things I'm accountable for. I like to have accountability, obviously. So I'd be like, I have accountability to this, and I have accountability to this. But the rest of my day, I don't know how it's going to go. But I definitely, this time I just gave up that I had any clue what I was doing with my life, right? You know, I was hitting 30, I was 35 years old, and I was like, you know, still struggling to even stay alive. You know, which to me is just, at this point, I was just like, I can't believe it, right? So I just decided to put my hands into, you know, to my higher power, honestly. Like, I never thought in a million years I'd be a guy that has a higher power. You know what I mean? I hated the word God, obviously. Like so many other people, I hated the word God. I was not a religious person at all. But when I gave it a chance, like when I was open-minded to it, I learned so much about it that I'm just like, I'm so grateful that I was able to find it. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like 100%. I don't believe in coincidences. I've had too many near-death experiences. I've had too many, like, what the fuck moments. Yeah. That I've always contributed that to something bigger and better than myself, right?
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like, with the higher power, like, I just, the more faith I put into my higher power, the more that the positive things just happened. You know, whether it be like, you know, being able to keep my career, or being able to get, you know, to take a year sober, or this or that, like whatever it was, it just, like, the more I focused on the positives, the less negatives would just happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh,
it's all perspective, right? And you know, there is some energy that gets, like, and I believe energy gets drawn into there. Like, you know, 100%. That positivity, positive things happen. Not to say shitty things don't fucking happen from time to time, but most of the time it's not so bad.
It's not so bad. There's many times when I've been like, you know, I've had a negative thing happening and I'm just like, well, there was that one time back when I was using that blah, 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 blah. And then it just like, okay, my life's actually not that bad. You know, that this is something I can handle. Yeah. You know what I mean? Positive thoughts, positive results. Like just that, excuse me. It's like people, I've had some guys be like, who the hell gets sober on Canada Day? And I was like, someone that's really fucking desperate. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, it was either do that or die at that point. You know, I have the liver of a 60-year-old alcoholic apparently. And like, I just didn't want to be done, but I knew that staying connected this time to recovery was the most important. You know what I mean? Staying connected with the people and making them like the biggest part of my life. Right. Because I found that when I tried to get better last time and I just went back to normal life, that's when my old habits started to come back. And that's when my old thinking came back, because I wasn't thinking about recovery anymore. I'm like, oh, I'm clean, I'm sober, I'm great. But the constant reminder with doing meetings, going back to my treatment center to either say hi or help out, or reading things, you know, or doing something like this. Yeah. Anything like this is a good, healthy reminder of where I came from and how easy it is to go back to how it was before, because it's there waiting 24/7.
Oh, 100%. Like, I'm closer to my next drunk than I am for, well, never mind, I screwed that one up. I was gonna say I'm closer to my next drunk than I am like my next something, and I can't remember what it is. Right?
Well, if you're not focusing on your recovery, you're focusing on your addiction.
Oh, 100%.
Right. You know what I mean? You know, it's
Do you think relapse is pre-planned or what?
I think a mental relapse does that. You know what I mean? I find that I don't know. I think like That's a hard one to say because I don't know. Something that I always say is relapse is not triggered is not an excuse, and relapse is not an option.
Yeah.
Would I say that to other people in recovery? Absolutely not, because like some people might take offense to that. I use that for myself because I say the more I put that into my brain, the less I'm thinking like, well, if I go to that Oilers game, is the chance I might have a beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like if I see that old person in Calgary, I'm going to get triggered and want to do a rail.
It's an excuse.
It's excuses.
Yeah, reservation.
In my opinion.
It's a reservation.
Reservations, resentments, holding on to old things that were keeping me sick.
Yeah.
You know, if I hold, the more I had an incident happen the last couple of weeks where I was holding on to a resentment from 3 years ago that I could not believe once it came back up how negative I felt about it. Right. And it's something I held on to for 3 years without even knowing it. You know what I mean?
I'm going to ask you this one then. How do you get rid of your resentments?
I talk to somebody I trust who's unbiased. You know what I mean? I talked. I mean, there's step work I could do. You know what I mean? But honestly, I talked to my sponsor. And that's the thing. It had nothing to do with relapse. It had nothing to do with substance abuse or alcoholism. It just was a big resentment that I had that I couldn't believe I was holding on to. Yep. And you really put it into perspective. Reaching out is important, right? Mm-hmm. I still have a hard time reaching out, but when I need it, I know I can do it. There's so many people in recovery that have nothing to do with my actual personal life, like my very biased personal life. You know what I mean? So if I reach out to people that I trust and just talk to them about it, it just works out so well. But the negative feelings that came from that was actually unbelievable.
Yeah.
And how'd I deal with it? I honestly prayed, I meditated a little bit, talked about it, put it out there, and now it doesn't seem so bad.
Yeah. Could you actually feel like that resentment like dissipate, I guess, or kind of evaporate?
I think it's been a slow one for me. I had to come to realize with that resentment as more I thought about it and the negative impact I saw it was having on my life. Those were just like, it was just a click actually one day where it was like, you know what? I really got to put in the effort to get rid of this resentment or else nothing's going to change. Yeah. So day by day, I slowly did things to work on it to the point now where it's like, it does not matter anymore. And it's not worth my mental, man. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's like drinking poison and expecting them to die, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's going to happen of it? Right. Like, what good is this going to do my life or the people around me? Mm-hmm. You know? So it was not worth it.
Yeah. What were some of the first goals? Like, I haven't asked this one for a while, but what were some goals you set that first year, and what are some goals that you accomplished and goals you're working on today?
Well, I mean, one of the first goals for me was, honestly getting through my step work, and that was important to me. Keeping my home, like, I don't know, like there was a lot of things that I feel I built up that I really loved, and I didn't want to lose them. I've learned that loss is a big part of my want to use. When I lose people, when I lose things, that's when I get depressed. And then that's when or my job, when I lost my job in Calgary, that did not help. So I wanted to make sure I could still hold on to those things. So some goals I had, keep my house, make my house look better, get through my step work, reconnect with my family as much as possible. Yeah. When it comes to goals, I don't like, we would do something at my treatment center. It's like, make your goals for your weekend. And it'd be like little things, right? But honestly, I think I was looking forward to getting that year of sobriety. Because I actually never even had that, right? Yeah. So, and I was so busy with things that I never expected to happen either, that I don't think I really had a chance to make too many goals. It kind of just happened, you know? Hockey actually was one of them. I'm like, I really want to get back into hockey because I used to play when I was a kid. And that's something, I had all this goalie gear at home and I never used it because I'd get drunk watching the hockey game. Be like, yeah, I'm going to get back into goaltending tomorrow morning. And then I would have the biggest hangover and be like, that ain't fucking happening. So,
sounded good that night.
Yeah. So hockey was actually a big one. I got back into hockey, which kept me physically active, which I still do. So that was a good one. And then yeah, then like all these other great things happened. I got asked to be a chair of a meeting or a GSR of a meeting, so that was really cool. I did not expect that to happen. Yeah, lots of good like goals. I don't know. I don't like and now I just want to have more of a peace of mind. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And more just peace of mind and life's just seemed like so chaotic. And now it's like, well, if my life's going to be chaotic, at least I want it to be positive chaos. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have to choose between hockey or, you know, go into a meeting. Like, that's a pretty good thing to, you know, like it's pretty good to have those good positive things in my life to choose from instead of like, oh, do I choose between gas or cocaine? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Funny, not so funny, right?
Yeah, funny, but not
fucking
funny.
true.
It's true. Then like the amount of times like, well, I can't get there if I don't have gas, or I could just fuck.
That's funny, actually. Yeah. That's funny. I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate with that one.
Oh yeah, I get it a lot, man. You know, or I borrowed my friend's car just so I could do it, or my mom's car. Like Jesus Christ, not good. But
I get a question, like,
yeah,
and this is one I like to ask, like almost every guest, because I think this one's important. Any role models or mentors, and what areas of your life?
Oh, well, honestly, like with my career, but my career is like one of my top. I've been doing it for 20 years, so it's obviously a big part of my life. Role models are people that put up with me in my substance abuse, and have still stuck around. You know, to be able to still be here and be able to call you a friend or an associate is really important. All the people in recovery who honestly like are giving it everything they got, especially like my sponsor is a big part of he's one of those types of guys I never thought in a million years that I would, you know, be close with, honestly. But he's he's such a smart man, and I know every time I talk to him he can simplify it for me, because I like to think really simply, and he's a smart guy, right? So I know he dumbs it down for me, which I'm very grateful for. So you know, my family, my dad is one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life, especially having to put up with my shit growing up. And yeah, honestly, anybody who's just living a positive, happy life, you know what I mean? Like, to see it in their eyes that they're living the best life possible, especially with times like this, I just admire that, you know? So, yeah.
It's contagious, right? Like,
it is.
You know, and I like the expression, like, be the change you want to see in the world, right? Yep, so exactly. If you want to bring positivity, you got to be positive, right?
How are you going to get it, right? You know, positive thoughts, positive results. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, I know it's hard to be positive sometimes. I still have that problem. But it is contagious. And it is something that if you just try to put out on other people, you'll get it back, and they will spread it to other people as well. You know, like you said, it's contagious. So, yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
What are some unexpected gifts you received in recovery?
Unexpected gifts.
Since getting clean. Yeah.
Oh, man. A love of gardening. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of what me and my new girlfriend are doing. My house, I love my house, and the yard is not anywhere the potential it has, right? So gardening is a big one that I'm like a gift of recovery, and liking it. Like, I've never been a plant guy ever, and now I actually care that my plants are. I got really sad the other day because a plant of mine was dying, and I didn't know how to help it.
This one here. This one. Oh, yeah. This is my drama queen. I've had her for probably 7 years, and as soon as you like neglect her, she'll go limp, right? Yeah. You give her a bit of water, she springs right back up the next day. She's the happiest plant in the world, right?
Exactly. So. It's so weird. My empathy towards plants is disgusting. Like, I don't get it. I'm finding my love again for hockey again too is a big one. Like, I was very passionate about it growing up, and then I fell off of it. And now I'm just like, I feel like a kid again with it. You know what I mean? That same love I had when I was a kid, I have it again.
You get that excitement.
That excitement is so cool. Except now that I'm playing competitive again, I'm kind of tired of losing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a goalie, so like I feel accountable to the games, but that's okay. It's still fun. And like staying connected the way I am in recovery, the things I get to do is awesome as well. I'm very happy about that. You know, I thought I would just be going to meetings and like saying hi to my old treatment center, but now I get to do some nice service work, which I feel is very important in recoveries, is getting out of yourself and, you know, like helping the newcomers and stuff like that. So being able to do that is amazing as well. And that's something I was not expecting, you know, being asked to do it, be a GSR of a meeting, or even getting to do creative therapy at my old treatment center, which I love doing, you know, going to see the guys, and we sit there and draw, but we more talk about recovery, which is really cool, you know, and things like that. It's just awesome, right? Like I say, it keeps me accountable, and just a whole new perspective on like life. Like, you know how I said I hated the word God. Now I have a new way of looking at the word God without being pissed off. You know, I look at the word God now as a way of living, like how you live your life.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of like an actual sentient being that controls everything, you know. So.
I had this weird, well, I don't want to call it weird, you know, before introduction, I used to think like the 10 Commandments, you know what, you follow the 10 Commandments, life is going to be good. This can be heaven. Like, I don't know if there's an afterlife or not, right? They say I don't know till I get there, right? So, you know, what I do know is I got this one fucking life and that's it.
This is my life.
Yeah. I follow this 10 Commandments. You know what? I'm not full of bunch of sin. You know what? Life's going to be good. I break all that stuff, you know, like that impending doom, or I'm always going to be looking over my shoulder, right? Like it was that contrast, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
There's 10 rules I got to follow.
Exactly. It's just like doing the steps. Like if I do these things and I do them to the best of my abilities, I know I'll stay clean. And it's worked for me. It's worked for many, many others. But like when it comes to, like the whole like religious or higher power, like our higher power part, I love the fact that I have that, you know, I have that I can be accepting of religious views mixed with like my spiritual views and like be okay with that. You know what I mean? And have that different. Because, I mean, fuck, I got Hellbent tattooed on my knuckles, for fuck's sake. So, like, I was not a fan of that stuff, right? But having a good outlook, like having a more positive outlook on all that stuff has just really changed my mental a lot to help me get this way.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this one then. Since you struggled with it at first, and anybody else who might be listening that's struggling with it, how did you come to that conceptualization of, or building up that connection with him? What did you have to do?
Well, I think, in the beginning of recovery this time around, like I honestly, how do I put it? I gave the steps and like actual meeting stuff a chance this time. And they talk about higher power a lot, right? You know, and I was like, well, you know, we'll see how that goes. But I was open-minded to that. And one thing I always used to say is karma's a bitch. You know what I mean? I always used to say that about my life, that karma's a bitch. Because all these negative things were happening to me, and I'm like, fuck karma, obviously, I'm doing bad shit. And I remember we went to a Buddhist, because we meditated a lot at the house, but then we went to a Buddhist temple. And we're asking this monk a bunch of questions, right? And this one guy spoke up, and he's like, so if you guys don't believe in an actual deity, what do you believe in? And he's like, karma. And I was like, what the shit? You know, like that's actually what they believe in, right? And so I found after hearing what that gentleman had to say that I was giving karma a chance. Like if I do good things, then good things are going to happen, right? Yeah. And that just was shown to me through everyday life in the treatment center and then outside the treatment center and stuff like that. When it comes to the spiritual awakening part, like who knows how many spiritual awakenings we actually have. You know, I can't say I've had it or I haven't had it. You know what I mean? But what I can say is that my spiritual growth that day did rise up a little bit.
Stepped up a little.
Stepped up a little.
One step closer or whatever.
I'm a big believer in energy. Like energy is a big part of like, you know, I think we all have it, and like what energy am I going to put out? What energy am I going to get back? All that stuff like that. So, yeah.
Cool.
Karma doesn't always have to be a bitch. She can actually be a real sweet lady if you let her.
Yeah.
So,
like somebody offering something or giving something or holding the door or whatever. Yeah.
Anything.
I avoided that accident, you know?
Yeah, exactly, right? And then sometimes things do happen, but at least now having those tools to be able to handle them properly, that's also a gift that I'm really happy about, is being able to handle life stresses and not turn to using substances or even have the thought. Like I get asked all the time do you ever have the desire to use? I'm like, no. I don't know what it is, but sponsor said it best. The obsession has been lifted, right? Which is good. So
did you can you pinpoint that point in your recovery where, the obsession was lifted, or that I'm going to be okay, everything's going to be okay?
Yeah. I really didn't give myself much of a chance to think of like wanting to relapse. Like and I'm not going to lie to you, like where I work, the liquor store is right next door. You know what I mean? Like it's right next. This is where I got fed my substances. What am I going to do? Am I actually going to leave where I work, the place I've wanted to work for years, and like let that place mess that up? Absolutely not. So, I got really sick to my stomach a lot seeing it, right? Like, and that's a negative feeling to have, right? So I think it was, I don't know. I remember it's honestly the room, when I go to the rooms and I don't see people that I used to see, I think that's when I knew I was going to be okay, because and it's sad to say that, but I did not want to be that anymore. Like having my run in 2012 and having my run in 2020, trying to get better. This was it. Like this was the next step is going to be death.
Do or die, right?
It's a do or die situation, because I was pretty close to dying. So yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Hope
that makes sense.
I totally get it. I'm picking it up, trying to see what time. I think. Is there anything else you want to add in here, or what? Actually, you mentioned about being part of a 12-step fellowship.
Yeah.
What gifts have you received, or what's been the benefit of that in your life?
Knowing that if I actually, if there was any danger of me relapsing or wanting to go back to substances, I have all those people in there. Like, even though, because I try to make it as much as I can, but I don't, unfortunately. My life has not given me that chance to do like a lot of fun in recovery. But I know for a fact that if I called any of those people that I have numbers with, I would get the help that I needed from those people. If they ever needed to talk to somebody, or if I ever needed to relearn something that I missed in my 12 steps, or just need to be around people. The doors are always open, right?
I feel so blessed about that. And like, I've shared this one many times, not on here, but just how grateful and how much gratitude I have for the fellowship, because I'm part of the 12 steps too. And the fact that I can go anywhere, anytime, and be connected with people that understand me, or that I can connect with them. And then I think about normies, I love that. People that don't have the fellowship that we have, when they're going through shit and they're not able to reach out, they're fucking alone. And I never have to be alone if I choose not to be.
Absolutely.
How blessed am I, right. For that, right?
I love having them as I love having the fellowship, and just because it also taught me how to build up positive relationships with not just like fellowships, but like my hockey team, for example. They like to have beer, right? I don't do it, but they do. But I can have a good, healthy relationship with them as well. My work, my family, but being around them, just having that support in case anything does happen, it's amazing. Like I said, if I would have given the 12 steps a chance back in 2012, I don't know where I'd be, but I think I'd be a lot better. So yeah.
I just totally drew a blank in that. Okay, yeah, this will be the last question.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Triggers isn't the right word I'm looking for. Healthy boundaries.
That's one thing I was going to bring up too. Yeah, I remember in the beginning we were heading to a meeting, and there was a fellow that, like I said, I was kind of like a sponge in the beginning, and I was listening to these two guys in the front of the car, and something happened that they were talking about, and one of the guys said boundaries. And that stuck with me. And I love having boundaries. I'm not going to lie. I have boundaries with everybody in my life, and it's so important. Healthy boundaries especially. You can still love somebody to death and have boundaries. You know what I mean? If I feel like something is gonna be detrimental to my recovery, I set up those boundaries right away. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like the recovery center that I was at. There's guys that I would play hockey with, but I would not go out to the store with them. Or there's guys that I would, do like that I would talk to and communicate with because I trusted them, but I wouldn't do the opposite. I don't know. You know what I mean? Healthy boundaries is very important, not just for recovery, but for everyday life. You know, when I go to a concert, I go with somebody I trust, like sober. Actually, when Slipknot came, I got invited by a few people. One was my sponsor and one was my girlfriend. Both are sober. And so, but if you ask me to go to Slipknot with somebody who is going to go all night and have fun, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know, but going to a hockey game, I went to a hockey game with my sponsor because I'm not going to miss hockey, you know, even though there's beer everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Oh yeah. And you get to that point where you don't even notice, like, and this is what I like to ask is like, what are your motives for being in that position? You know what I mean? I love going to concerts. I love being part of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. I don't even notice it. Like, I'm aware that it's there, but that's not my focus point. And if my focus point shifts while I'm there, well, it's time to fucking go.
It's time to go. Exactly. We have to have the accountability to be able to take ourselves out of those situations and not let them, like I say, am I going to quit my job at the place I've wanted to work since I moved back to Edmonton because there's a liquor store next door? Am I going to not take on that clientele because I know they have a drug problem, even though they're not doing it in front of me? Unfortunately, no. If people are like that and they feel triggered, yeah, definitely take yourself out of the situation. Because I would if I had to, you know what I mean? But I really try to not let that happen.
Yeah, it doesn't dictate our life today, right? Or, hide from it or isolate away from it, And if you have to, like, I get it, like, what was it? I think I was 9 months before I ever stepped foot in a bar when I first got sober.
Absolutely.
I remember my first NA dance. I shouldn't have said that, but whatever, no censorship.
No censorship. It's all good.
I remember going to my first sober dance and all the lights, everything was so flashy. I had to leave. It was too intense for me. Right. Like I couldn't handle it. Right. Like it was just,
you could go to a bar, right. But then you had to dance, you know, like you don't know what's going to trigger you, but as long as you have the tools to handle those triggers and know what to do in those situations, that's important.
And the self-awareness and
awareness,
the honesty of yourself, like to thy own self be true. Like
absolutely,
you don't need to impress anybody.
Nope.
The only thing you need to do is stay sober or like stay safe.
Yeah. I had a guy that I used to watch hockey with, and he's a dear friend of mine, but we would get loaded. We would just watch the Oilers game and we'd be screaming at the TV and we'd be like going outside thinking we can play hockey in the backyard, breaking windows and shit. And then I remember I got clean and he didn't drink in front of me or anything like that, but he came to my house and he had the same type of attitude that he did before. Like you could tell that he already had some drinks, but he was acting like he was before, screaming and yelling at the TV. And then you had me, and I calm right the fuck down, man. Like I'm not like that anymore when hockey comes on, and I had to set up a boundary there and be like, "Hey, bro, I love you, but I don't think this is gonna happen anymore," just because it was really starting to get to me.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so,
awesome.
Like you said, self-awareness, accountability. Like you put in so much work for recovery, right? Like it is work, but at the same time, you got to enjoy life too. Oh, you really do. You can't.
That's why we got sober. I'm
sorry.
No,
it's true.
I get excited,
Yeah, it's true, man. Like I want to live. I want to actually I get to go on trips now. Like I'm going on a couple trips this year, which is I never would have done before. I get to share my home with somebody who's sober like me, and we get to do things I never thought before. Enjoying. If you're gonna become a dry drunk, why are you doing it? No one wants to be that.
That's why and that's how I came up with the tagline at the end, right? Is make memories, because fuck, never left my basement or I never left the house, you know what I mean? So make memories, step out of my comfort zone and try new things.
Absolutely.
Everything you do for the first time is potentially is scary and new, but you're going to make a memory of it.
Absolutely.
I say take lots of pics, one, because I'm horrible at taking pics, but like never did I take pics in active addiction, and like that's part of them making memories, because I know my mind's going to go one day and like, so I'm like, take lots of pics so that way you can reflect and then show the world your smile. How often did I ever smile like in active addiction, So
I got my teeth fixed because of recovery, and now I actually smile.
Nice.
I remember the first time somebody said, "Holy shit, I can see your teeth. Like I've never seen you smile." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, obviously there's a reason, right?" So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. Take lots of photos and like just enjoy it, man, because you think that we can never forget where we came from. I think that's one thing that we do forget. You know what I mean? Like as time gets better and moves on, we forget about all the shit that we went through. you know, the amount of negativity that came from using, I will never forget. Physical and mental, you know what I mean? So that's the other thing about being grateful these days is, you know, being able to have a healthier body and like be able to remember things. It's like you said, even if you did get out of your basement in the past, you probably don't remember it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Oh, it was a big blur for years.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah, I know.
Just one big blur, right?
Oh, God. Oh. Yeah. My friends will come up, hey, Lee, do you remember when you blah, 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 blah? And I'll be like, what? No, I didn't do that. And they're like, oh, yeah, you fucking did. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'll just put it in the memoirs for later.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, thanks,
you
buddy.
You didn't take any pictures.
Yeah, there's a picture, too. Oh, that's great. Okay.
Oh, it must be true, then.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I guess it happened, right? Oh, 2 people have said it now? Oh, fuck. All right.
Yeah, well. Yeah, they're probably right.
Yeah, exactly.
Stories are pretty similar.
Yeah, sounds about right. No. I love when people, like my girlfriend will, maybe not my girlfriend, but like coworkers forget, like, wow, like you actually did all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I would never picture that in you. I'm like, thank you.
Isn't that such a compliment? Like,
it is.
You know, when people look at you and they're like, yeah, like they never know you had the past that you had, you know, it just shows how far you've come, right?
Exactly.
They would never know.
Yeah. And that's actually, sorry, before we end, there was one gift I got that I just never forgot. So I guess there was a lady in Calgary who saw me about 3 or 4 years ago at a convention, and didn't think, like, I didn't see her, I didn't know her or nothing, but I guess she came to my studio and got some work done, and she saw me like 6 months ago, and she actually, like, I went outside to have a smoke, and she comes running outside. She's like, I just had to say something. And I was like, oh no, what did I do? And she's like, I saw you about 4 years ago and you looked like you were going to die. Like you looked like you were going to topple over at any time and just fucking die there. And seeing you like this is amazing. Didn't even know her at all. Like but she just randomly came to my studio and she decided to say that. So that was really cool.
Interesting. Okay, I want to keep asking. Like,
no, it's fine.
Compliments. How hard is it to like?
I hate compliments. I still hate them, man. I'm not gonna lie. I have a hard time with them, to be honest with you. And I was like, yeah, cool. Oh, thanks, man. Or I have my. Oh, it sounds so bad, but I have a fake one. I have a fake like, thanks, man. You know, and it sounds just like that. Or thanks, you know, and that's all I got, man. I can't do it. It's hard.
It is hard a little bit.
Yeah.
I totally get it, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, you just gotta, I don't even know.
I put my eyes down. Like, yeah, cool. And then at the meetings when you get your birthday, they make you sit at the front, and I'm like, oh my god, my crotch looks boring. but still, I'll take them, I guess, you know. But
you just gotta appreciate them for what they are, right?
Oh, I'm very grateful for them. Yeah, they're always amazing to hear, and they should not be taken for granted. You know what I mean? So yeah 100%.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for us today. You know, it's been such a pleasure. Like, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story with us and having this conversation with me. Like, I've loved every minute of it.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks for having me. That was great, man. Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I think this podcast is really cool for people to hear and, you know, actually hear, you know, the good stuff besides outside the meetings of how good recovery can be. Because I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't trade this for anything. Yeah. So, yeah.
Cheers to that one.
Cheers, man.
So here, and you know from listening, what's something you want to leave with all the listeners? Take us home.
Take the don't. Oh no, never mind. You can edit this, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Used to.
Yeah, living the attitude of gratitude is by far the most important thing. I find like I say, the more that I focus at my thoughts and energy on the things that I still have and that I'm grateful for in my day, the less I'm focusing on the negatives. So, be grateful for what we got. Awesome. And then more will come and less shit will come. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And everybody else do edit. Thanks everybody for listening today. You know what? I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll leave you the same way I leave you every episode. And that's make lots of memories, take lots of pics, and show the world your smile. Thanks.
You've been listening to Addicts Living Free. Our passion is to create hope and to inspire others. Life can be amazing. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, you can hook up with us on Facebook and Instagram. See you next time on Addicts Living Free.